I was invited to a remote gold claim in the central New Zealand highlands to do some prospecting for an upcoming dredging trip. I'd already managed to find some amazing gold. Look at that! That's one freaking pan, man! Meet some amazing people.
You're gonna leave me to do all the really hard work?
I am indeed, mate. I'm gonna go back and get out of this gear and have a coffee.
And test my prospecting skills on completely new ground. However, on this day, it wasn't just my prospecting skills that were going to be tested. I found myself in a situation that was quickly going to hell.
Hey, it's Chris on radio. Does anyone copy? And apparently we're out of radio reception. Oh, I'm truly on my own.
This would be a day that would test me to my absolute limits.
Oh, I want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this.
This is a cautionary tale about why we should have absolute respect for Mother Nature. Tomorrow is going to be one of the most challenging days on my gold prospecting adventure in New Zealand. I'm going to have to hike to the top of the claim. It's the only day I can do it before weather sets in. At the top of the claim, Darren and Rex are telling me about some amazing gold finds that they've had, including a 2-gram crevice that was less than a foot long.
So, we're not dredging today, we're taking a day off, but we just cleaned out that crack here, and you wouldn't believe it, mate. Look at that. It all came out of that crack.
But I've been hard at this for several days now, including sticking it out with a film crew, and I just don't know if I'm going to have the energy to be able to get there. This is amongst the hardest terrain that I've ever had to traverse. Darren, that was a bloody good meal. Thank you so much for that.
Oh, I'm glad you appreciate it, mate.
Yeah, what do you reckon, Max? This is why we can't have nice things. What's this stuff falling from the sky?
Oh, yeah, that'd be new to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, rain.
Don't know what the Australian word is for it.
We have a weather front moving in, as you may be able to tell. These are clouds and there were mountains there yesterday. You told me the gold up the top of the claim is really good.
Very good, mate.
Yeah, how good?
Well, I won't be knocking the pans out of your hand, and I'll put it that way.
What are you doing, Tate?
Chucking up a little video to catch your reactions. Insurance purposes only.
Yes.
Good old manual windscreen wipers. You think with the money you spent on this rig, you'd have automatic ones?
Well, look, they are. Look, if I do this.
Oh, look at that. Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye. Be safe, my boy.
This was the exact moment, some 6 hours in the future, that would come back to haunt me.
Wait, oh no, that's on you. Oh, I need my gear.
I spent the majority of my life in the bush. Hunting, hiking, four-wheel driving, you name it, I've done it. And that's to say that over the years I've developed a particular set of skills that allowed me to safely navigate through and around the bush in all kinds of weather. And in 6 hours, I was going to have a stark reminder of why you should never take Mother Nature for granted, no matter how much experience you have.
It's funny, I've been walking for an hour now, it's raining, I'm wet, but the temperature is so nice. It's not hot and humid, it's not cold, it's just the best time of day to be out right now. This is so good. And this is where we were filming yesterday, which means that I'm about halfway. Oh, and you know there's not a chance that I'm going to walk past this spot and not do at least one pan, right?
The temperature at this point was around 17 degrees Celsius.
There's that beautiful tan material I've been looking for.
But as the day went on, both the air temperature and the water temperature continued to get cooler. And my first mistake on this hike was choosing not to take wetsuit bottoms with me.
If we get gold in the first pan of the day, it's going to be a good omen for upstream, right? Ah, we got it. We got it. Just a few specks, but they're there. The gold gods have seen fit to bless us, which is very nice. From this point on, I haven't seen any of the claim, and there's another 3 kilometers above us. With a little bit of luck, that weather is going to hold out, and I'm going to have a great day on that gold. I do believe I've found where I've got to descend into the river, because I said there'll be no trees and a caliche bed. I give you rain, mountains, and a caliche bed with no trees. Let the descent into madness begin. If this is the wrong spot, there's no coming back up. I'm gonna have to go down the river. It's so hard to show depth, but I think I can get down this section here, and then there's like a little crossover pad here. I can lower myself down onto that, and then I could probably scramble down that part of the hill. No. scrap that idea. They said go through the bush on the left-hand side, so that's what I'm going to do. But oh man, this does not look any better. I'm not going to try to do any fancy filming through this. This is just going to be me falling down a hill, if I'm being honest. I'm going to get very wet. Oh, hopefully not injured. Yeah, like that. Once we're down here, we are committed to the river too. Stupid stuff I do for gold. Oh, what am I caught on? Do you know how to get out of here? Cover your wings. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Far out. Oh wow. that was sketchy. That was way sketchier than I thought it was going to be. Well, we ain't going to waste any time. Right there. Oh, that is packed and full of like clay. Oh, it's fractured bedrock too. Come on. First pan on the upper claim.
The descent down the cliff was only possible because there were a lot of trees growing off the side of it. Most of the walls in this gully are completely vertical and made of smooth stone. And that was meant to be the hardest part, test panning my way down the river until I made it back to where I started panning in the morning. Little was I to know, that was going to be my only way back out of this entire gully.
Now I don't know if there's going to be gold in this pan because it's literally the first spot I saw on the first place I touched solid ground. But it'd be bloody sweet if there was. Yep. Oh, that's a good sized flake. Oh. First pan of the day, I got one real good flake, a couple of specks, and a bunch of micro you may not be able to see on the GoPro. And I have approximately 4 kilometers of river to walk back down to meet the boys dredging today. It very much looks like I'm about to leave the paradise of a nice open area for a very tight gorge. Before I try to navigate my way across that and down into there, I've got this. Those rocks are jammed in that crevice.
At this stage, I had high hopes. I was still relatively warm, even though I had rain falling from above and multiple waist-deep water crossings to complete.
There's gold in that crack, about the same as what I got in the first pan, so we're on the money. We just got to find the right one. How's that? I was all the way up there and came down through this bush.
What ultimately becomes a danger whilst out in the wild is exposure.
They are so sketchy, those crossings.
Exposure is simply long-term contact with an element that forces your body to regulate above its normal rate, such as having to cool itself down, or in this case, warm itself up.
It honestly feels like I've entered Lord of the Rings at this stage. Look at that. This is looking good. We've got a nice bedrock shelf protecting it, so maybe we'll have some gold up on it. Look at the debris on top. Depending on how deep this is, we might have some gold. I've opened it up and it's just not looking that good. There's no fractured bedrock and there's no clay. I'll run a quick pan just in case. Already it's not looking good. I'm not seeing any gold or black sand at the back, and the good pans always have them here. Flour gold, just a few pieces of flour gold in there.
It had been over an hour since I managed to get to the bottom of the ravine, and the air temperature was starting to drop. Couple that with the rain that had soaked through all my clothing, and my body was having to fight to stay warm.
People want to pretend that gold mining is easy. I know my ground at home very well because I've spent years and thousands of pans looking for the gold in those areas. So when I go out, I know where to go. But now I find myself in a foreign country, dealing with soil that's moved by glaciers, and the gold's laid in by significantly more water than I'm used to. And so I have to develop an entirely new set of prospecting skills. I've done over 30 pans up there looking for the gold, and whilst I got sporadic trace, this is the best pan I've got so far. and it's still not exactly what we're looking for. I know, and the claim owners know, that there's gold here where you can get over a gram in a single pan. I'm looking for a needle in a haystack, and the problem is I'm in a hay shed at the moment. I got a few specks out of there, but just up here the bedrock was really crumbly. The bedrock tends to hide gold when it breaks apart and fractures. The problem on a fast moving river is that the river will strip away all those crevices every time it floods, so you're really looking for very hard to find crevices that break up. There is a lot more black sand in this pan than the last couple. Come on. Yeah, just flour gold. A lot of it. That's a lot of flour gold, but yeah, only flour gold, no nice big flakes. We're definitely taking these ones home. I'm gonna make sure I finish this off too, because that's the first good gold I've seen in a couple of hours. I gotta get the motivation back.
With the power of hindsight, watching these videos, I can see that I was already struggling to think clearly. Because some of the gold that I was finding in these pans was more than significant enough to stay and have a look in the area.
I'm a brave man using ungloved hands to pick up shattered bedrock. Sorry, Rex. Bravery and stupidity, it's a fine line.
At this stage, we're close to 2 hours in average of knee to shin deep cold water. It's still raining, and I've been doing laborious work panning. My energy was starting to run out, and the river was only going to get more difficult.
Woo! That's a lot of flour gold at the back of the pan. This will be alright. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that's the most black sand I've got in a pan since getting to New Zealand. And we got flour gold. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we got heaps of flour gold. That's not a bad pan, actually. It may have taken several hours, but we're seeing gold finally. I can already hear all the people asking me, Chris, why aren't you out here sniping? Isn't there meant to be big nuggets? Yes, but not in this river. I've had really long talks with Rex and Darren, and they both said that the nuggets aren't on this claim. And so far, that seems to be true. The gold's very similar to what it is in my area in Australia. And sniping doesn't get you nuggets. Sniping is a way of extracting big chunky gold out of rivers. The gold still has to be there. So it's a very tedious way of extracting gold out of the center of a river if it's very fine, because it's too easy to fan away. Well, how's that? Those crevices are less than 2 feet apart and I got barely anything.
From this point onwards, the canyon got narrower, the water got deeper, and the walls got higher, ultimately funneling me into a one-way path.
I have a slight but important problem. It might not be very cold and that might not look very deep, but it's still got a bit of a chill in there because of the weather. And I'm betting that that is at minimum waist deep. And then I don't know how deep it gets down through this gorge section, because this gorge is much tighter than the area I've been walking through, which is why the water's been shallow. Well, I guess there is only one way to kind of find out. We're already up to my knees, and that's not even in the deep part yet. We're just going to stick to this shallow edge. Except the fast water is running here. It looks like it gets real deep there. Okay, this way. Ooh, that's cold. That's actually cold. Oh man, it gets super deep there. It gets super deep. Far out. Okay, I'm gonna have to somehow scramble up this back. I'm gonna have to go back there. We have to go back to those logs, get up that hill, and then go along the bedrock here and hope that I can get down the rest of the gully. Okay. This is my way through. Sketchy AF. Oh, hold on, little tree. Hold on. Oh, can I get this out of the way? Yes, good. Good. It's super hard to show you guys depth with a GoPro, but I am at least 25 foot off the base of that creek bed. I keep calling it a creek. It's definitely not a creek. It's a river. Oh, come on, I gotta get down. Oh, wait. Oh, God. No. Oh, far out. That was sketchy as. The water there is over my head, guaranteed. Welcome to New Zealand.
These were the last pans I did before I realized just how much trouble I might be in. Having now spent close to 3 hours in icy water, with persistent rain, I was really struggling to stay warm. The main issue was that I had chosen to leave my wetsuit bottoms back at camp.
For all that effort, I was rewarded with 4 little specks. Well, it's better than no little specks, right?
It was at this point that I recognized I was getting significantly colder, and so I put in the extra effort to stay physical and warm as best I could, knowing that I was only about 1 kilometer from my exit point.
Bro, look at that. That is a sheer cliff. And there's been a massive landslide there.
Soon enough, I would discover that 1 kilometer might as well have been 100. Because this gully becomes completely impassable when you're dressed like me.
I'm just walking and moving because there's so much creek to see, there's so much river to explore, and I've walked a fair solid way away from camp that I know I need to make it back before nightfall, but also I don't want to miss out on an opportunity to find a really spectacular bedrock area that just has the right ingredients. So if I don't keep moving, I'll never find it. Well, the river is sure throwing some problems my way. These are sheer rock walls. That is probably 15 or 20 feet deep. And my only way around this bend is to upscale over this boulder to get down to that gravel bar, and then I don't know what's down there. I got a feeling this trip is going to be a whole lot less gold prospecting and a whole lot more adventuring. The problem is that is all super deep too and very fast, powerful water. That's where I want to be, but I'm going to angle off up this way. So if the current gets a bit strong and wants to push me backwards, I'll end up walking to it anyway. Oh my god, this is deep. This is actually pretty deep. Ooh, that's current. That's real current. Ooh. That was... This, I don't... It's all sketchy. This is all sketchy. This is obviously a landslide. I may get up around this corner and it might just be impassable because there's a strong possibility at this point from what I'm seeing that I'm gonna have to turn around and back hike this.
And then it happened. The moment I knew I was going to have to turn around, cold, wet, tired, and backtrack the whole lot.
That's really gnarly. That is not okay. That is, I don't know if I can get past that. This is all rapids and super, super deep water. There just isn't a way for me to get down there where I'm confident that I'm going to be safe. And the problem is I'm in the middle of nowhere. I am like way out of any kind of fast kind of help, and I'm on my own. So I can either backtrack or I can try and hike these hills. It is probably a 2-hour walk back to where I was, and then a mad scramble up the hill, and then I got to go all the way back down the trail. The converse side is I could probably try and upscale one of these hills, and I know I will hit the footpath eventually. The problem is I don't know exactly how far into that bush the footpath is from the river. And as you can see, it's quite thick, so it's a very hard slog. I've got no choice. I've got to go back. I've got to go back because I can't risk going down there, and I don't think I want to risk upscaling this to find out that I can't walk through it. I can't get through the bush to the trail. Man, this just turned into a cluster. Now, I have been given a radio by the camera crew, the safety things, so I'm just going to let them know that I'm going to be probably a lot later. Hey, it's Chris on radio. Does anyone copy?
This was the exact moment I found out I was completely alone and I would have to backtrack to get in contact with anyone. It may not seem like a big deal on video, but when you're exposed to cold water for an extended period of time, it becomes harder to move your muscles. Couple that with the fact that I was extraordinarily fatigued from hiking all day.
Chris online, does anyone copy?
and you have a recipe for one-slip disasters. And for that reason, having a contact to the outside world is super important. At the very least, let someone know when you're meant to be arriving home.
This might seem like a small thing. Oh, he just has to turn around and head back upstream and get back to where he was, but I've got 2 hours invested downstream through really difficult terrain, and on top of that, the weather I'm going out in is the first part of a front that's moving in, and that's going to make this canyon flood. We're going to get massive flash floods. If I'm held up, if I'm slowed down, if I'm stopped from getting back up that hill, I'm in a really dangerous position where flash flooding, major thunderstorms and rain events are going to come down this gully, and I've got nowhere to go.
And I was only getting colder and starting to shake.
Oh God, I've got to upscale this. All right. I am not looking forward to this part. This water is super fast and it's extremely slippery just here. Oh, it's already wanting to push me backwards. Footing. Oh God, go fuck. Oh. Oh, that is really bad. The current is strong as it's deep and everything is so slippery. Prospecting. I'm not gonna lie, the water is actually getting colder. Like, I'm starting to feel it now because I've been in it for hours, and the ambient temperature is not too bad. It's probably about 17 or 18 degrees. Oh, but it just, the longer you stay exposed in this, the harder it is for your body to regulate your temperature. And I'm wet through and through because of the rain, because of climbing through all this brush. I got bad news. I gotta go back up that bloody gorge, which means I gotta upscale into the bushes. All right, here we go. Oh, that's it. I just got to get down this part. Straight into, like, thigh-high water. Thing is, I'm just getting further and further away from camp too, so to dry off, I have to walk like 4 kilometers. I'm getting so sick of these crossings. Oh, it's getting so cold. Couple more. Can do it. Mother didn't raise no bitch. I think this is either the last or the second last sketchy river crossing. Oh God. I'm just getting weaker. Oh my God, it's getting so much weaker. It's exhausting, it's anxiety inducing, because the last thing you want to do is fall into a river like this, fully clothed with bags and stuff on. I've just got to make it across this part of the river. Last river crossing. Oh. Oh, no more river crossings. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you just how difficult this is going to be, but that is what I got to walk through. It's almost vertical. Oh, I want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do it. But I gotta. Oh, I'm so cold. Alright, I gotta go. I gotta keep moving, because if I don't keep moving, I'm not gonna stay warm. I gotta go. Oh no. Oh God. The caliche beds are just there. If I can get up this part and get through that cut grass. Oh, I gotta get up this bit. I'm almost there. Oh, oh my god. Oh. Oh. Oh my god.
G'day Chris, can you hear me? It's Tom.
Hey Tom. Ah, it's good to hear your voice.